Welcome to Newkirk, presented by SK Planet. I'm just, you know what? I gave up. I'm just calling it. This is Newkirk. Okay.
Let's just call it Newkirk Precinct.
I'm just gonna call it Newkirk, man. Anyway,
well,
spawning in the bottom left-hand position, the yellow Terran from CJ Entis, the last hope. It's Bbyong.
His opponent, undefeated in PBT. His name is Jangbi, playing for Samsung Khan. See, it says Newkirk Precinct.
It does, but you know what? I'm just gonna call it Newkirk, man. I think that's a little bit easier, a little bit harder to mess up, and a little bit shorter. Doesn't have to be the longest map naming for the league anymore, man. Not if I have anything to say about it. Anyway, so of course this is a Protoss versus Terran matchup on Newkirk. Jangbi undefeated in this matchup. Bbyong, he's 4-2, so not bad. And I don't know, just the problem is the cards are stacked against Bbyong here.
I feel like you're saying not bad only because he's facing Jangbi. I mean, 4-2 is a record that you can't ignore. It's a great matchup for him. He already has a 66% win rate against Terran players, but you're saying that only because Jangbi, he is 6-0. The map 2-0 for Protoss in the past two PBTs.
Exactly, that's pretty much what I'm getting to here. You know, I don't want to try to talk down about Bbyong. 4-2 is an impressive record, but the problem is the map stats so far are in favor of Protoss, and he's playing against a phenomenal Protoss player. So Jangbi, of course, opening up with the standard gate and getting his gas behind it. Only one gas, though, not going quite yet for the double gas, so he's just going to get that one. He'll probably get a second one a bit later on, and standard barracks opening from Bbyong. And he does have a gas, so it's going to be a reactor expand build.
Oh yeah, really popular. Even sometimes getting a Reaper before going for the reactor. You know, just really standard, I have to say, in PBT these days.
Yeah, there it is, the Reaper, like you said. So may not be the reactor just quite yet, but he is going to get that Reaper out. Going to scout out his opponent. That's something that the Reapers are just so good at nowadays.
Yeah, just get a Reaper out and then get the reactor after. Now, some players decide to get 2 Reapers out and they try to commit to the harassment a little bit earlier in the game. Some players only make 1 for scouting and then build a reactor while going for the expansion. Now, he could even go for some different builds such as fast factory build and into starports or some other builds that we're still not accounting for. But for now, you know, the popular build is reactor into expansion, and look at this, even Bbyong gonna block his opponent's natural expansion with the engineering bait.
I like when Terrans do this against Protoss. This is such a smart move. Protoss players are going to generally try to take their expansion as fast as humanly possible, but using that engineering bay, you're able to block your opponent and just deny that expansion from going up for a certain amount of time. And combine this with the Reaper harassment, you know, the Protoss player all of a sudden has to divide his attention among a lot of different things.
This is perfect, throwing out the mother support to the natural, but he could have gone inside the main base and see what his opponent did. To what his opponent might have built after the SV scout, but it seems like he just tried to go for the probe, picked up the probe, and then got out of there as soon as possible.
So overall, things are starting off pretty good for Bbyong there. Look at that, forced to delay that expansion even more because that Reaper is moving around in the main base. Maybe he'll be able to get another probe snipe, but nope. He's just going to run around, scout everything that Jangbi is up to before leaving this map. He's even going to see the expansion, so that Reaper was certainly worth it. Also have a sentry on the way for our Protoss player. Warp gates getting close to completion, and expansion going up for Bbyong as well, so he is not going to go for any crazy one-base all-ins. I would have to say nowadays, one-base play against Protoss it's almost dead, I want to say, nowadays.
It is dead because of the mothership core and how fast it comes out for the Terran Protoss player. On these other matches such as PvP, you know, some players, they skip the mothership core to get earlier tech out, but Protoss players in PvT, they try to get the tech out as early as possible. And the mothership core is so amazing at defending against the 2-racks plays that the Terran player might do. It buys them so much time to get enough units out and defend against the attack. Look at this Reaper, still alive and well, going for the scouting once again. This time he is going to see the Robo, so he knows that Jangbi is going for the most popular build that the Protoss players are doing these days.
Indeed, you can still occasionally go for that Stargate play. Those can be viable. I love the Stargate play that Rain was able to utilize recently in this matchup. But, oh, is that Reaper going to get taken out? Yes, the Reaper does die to those Stalkers. So, no more scouting for free, essentially, from Bbyong here. And Jangbi trying to do a little bit of harassment with his Mothership Core. I think he was able to get a little bit of damage in there, but not really enough. Also a fast forge on the way for Jangbi here. Interesting. We did see Parting do a very similar build recently on Whirlwind when he was playing against Innovation.
Willplay's playing really standard, I have to say, and the only difference that we see is the earlier forge, which we saw from some of the players, and it seems like they're going for it because they're gonna get the tech units out a little bit later in the game. You know, because they went for the little bit later in the game compared to some of the other builds that we saw from in the beginning of the game, and they have to get tons of gateway units out earlier in the game, rely on the mothership core and the force field to defend against the units. So now they're getting the +1 for themselves to have the armor upgrade against the Terran army when they push out around 9 minutes and 10 minutes.
Exactly, so getting that, basically just like you said, trying to match the Terran in upgrades. So I like that response, and now the Observer, it's going to scout the starport timing. It looks like we're going to see a very standard, roughly 10-minute push from Bbyong here with his medevac and bioforce. He's going to have the +1 in addition to that, but Jangbi will have that +1 armor. He'll have the robotics bay done, and probably a Colossus out in time for this push, so he should be perfectly safe against anything that Bbyong plans on doing.
And Jangbi, just all he has to do is until around 13 minutes or 14 minutes, he just needs to defend against his opponent, and he's going to have enough Colossus out to move out on the map, take a third base, and then possibly go for a counter attack if Bbyong committed too much and if Jangbi wipes out his entire army.
That's right, so the Robo has just finished up there, and the Colossus production is going to start here. The real question is, will Jangbi heavily go into the Colossus tech or favor going for the Templar tech? We already see that Twilight Council on the way, so that leads me to think that he's going to focus much more on a heavy gateway and maybe a faster storm-based army.
Well, it could work for two ways. One, the +1 is finishing soon, so he could continue the +2 as soon as the Twilight Council finishes. But like you said, he could go into Templar tech right away. After the Twilight Council finishes, he could get the charge out earlier in the game for the Marines. And look at this, Bbyong is slowly pushing out on the map.
He is slowly pushing out. Another advantage of this Twilight Council, he'll be able to start his +2 armor upgrade immediately if he chooses to after that is finished. He's going to go for +1 instead, and now we do have Bbyong moving out across the map.
No range on the Colossus.
That's right, this is just one Colossus here. Luckily, this is a Marine-based army here. And now, Jangbi being a little bit aggressive here. He's got to be very careful, though. This is a very huge Marine army. Good force fields go down. Actually, amazing force fields go down. But the problem is, this Protoss army is ill-equipped to deal with this more amazing force fields. Where did he get that energy? Jangbi making the best out of a potentially terrible situation that could have been almost game-ending.
Oh yeah, I'm really surprised that Jangbi actually saved the Colossus at the end. You know, most players, they would have a terrible force fields because they're panicking, and then they'll lose it. And especially for Jangbi, who's known for terrible force fields when he first started playing Starcraft2, and that was like Bong level of force fields, I have to say.
Yeah, that was just like, I actually thought that the Colossus was going to die and everything was going to die there.
I thought the game was going to end.
Yeah, but Jangbi just proving us completely wrong there, using those sentries to their maximum potential, I want to say. And we do have the second forge on the way. Storm, Charge, Templar tech. Everything will soon come together for Jangbi here. But the real question is, will his economy be able to keep up with Bbyong's? Because right now, Bbyong, he's going to try to keep some pressure on his opponent. He's going to, you know, just have a nice economy advantage over his opponent here. And Jangbi, he could try to go for maybe some type of 2-base all-in here, but that's going to be a difficult thing to pull off against him.
Well, Protoss players nowadays are used to taking the third base a little bit later because of the medevacs, and I've seen a lot of Protoss players still win with a later third Nexus as long as they can save the Colossus and the Templars later into the game. If they lose the crucial units, then the Terran players can go for a counterattack and win the game, but as long as those Templars are alive, Bbyong really can't, you know, even though he has the economy, he's certainly still not ahead when it comes to the AoE damage of Jangbi's.
Yeah, Jangbi now with those Templar and Storm, you know, Bbyong essentially he can't do anything yet. He has some ghosts on the way, so eventually adding those to his army will allow him to deal with the Templar. But until then, essentially Bbyong, he can't really attack. He can focus on being defensive in his economy.
Jangbi.
Oh, sorry, excuse me, Bbyong.
Just because he had amazing force fields doesn't mean that we switched the players from Jangbi to Bbyong.
We also have a Warp Prism just completing here, so will that be used in conjunction with the Templar, or will Jangbi go for some type of drop play? to counter the potential top drop play from Bbyong here. He is moving out. Oh, look at this, though. We have the SCVs being pulled almost instantly here. That's actually very bad. Oh, my God, though. Excellent storms going down, hitting so many of those units there. And that Bio army is just eating throughout all the storms there. Another one going down. Those Templar are going to get killed off, and this drop in the main base is going to go almost uncontested here. A lot of SCVs did die here, but the problem is Jangbi. He has to defend in a lot of different places here. Oh,
Artosis pylon.
Artosis pylon does go down. 3 gateways.
Second Artosis pylon.
If both of these pylons go down, oh my gosh, the production for Jangbi has been completely crippled here, and at the same time, Jangbi doing a good job harassing, but now the third expansion is going to go down. Bong, he's looking like he may be able to deliver Jangbi his first Protoss versus Terran loss in Pro League.
However, he does have the upgrades for himself, and he has a little advantage. But where's the Mothership Core for the cannon defense? Does he actually not have a second Mothership Core? Here comes Bbyong with his main army, and seems like Jangbi, he doesn't have enough army to defend against this. That's a lot of charge lots.
That's a lot of charge lots. The Bioforce is very impressive as well, and using Stem, kiting, and the Medivacs, they're just going to be able to completely beat through this Protoss army, and with no AoE, I think that's going to be a Jangbi. Everything was looking great for him, but unfortunately, that dropped so much damage to him, pretty much completely crippling his economy, and I don't think he can defend against this.
This is gonna be it. Manamu's even coming down, and GG by our Samsung Com player. You know, I have to question his decision making, because I was about to point out that Bbyong was not getting the +2/+2, so he was going to go for the SCVs. If he just bought enough time at the third base, then he would have had +2/+2 finish for himself instead of fighting with only +1/+1.
So very, very surprising outcome there. I expected Jangbi to absolutely crush Bbyong, but Bbyong showing us that, you know what, he can hang with the best of them, and he can make some excellent decision makings. Definitely a well-won and well-deserved victory for him. So currently the score 2-3, with Samsung Con still in the lead here. The next match is going to be Sky High versus Roro. That should be exciting. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be back. This is the SK Planet Pro League.